And I think that's a big part of what we need to stand up in resistance against.
Well, they don't admit they do, but Google's on record. The cameras, the microphones, it's all in Lifetime, too.
Well,
I mean, they're...
But they're trying to sell it to us as something that we will pay for. And
you
I
opt into.
This is really the difference between 20th century tyranny and 21st century tyranny. Is in the 20th century, you use guns and tanks to get your way. They're still doing a bit of that, but I think they figured out through all of the psychology that the 20th century contributed, an understanding of how people think.
And that's what your doctorate's in, so you can speak to that.
It is, yes. I actually have a doctorate in human development and psychology from Harvard University. So
and I mean, Harvard's where they actually teach a lot of the technocrats how to do this.
It's probably true.
Well, at their higher level PhDs, I just had... one of those PhDs on, Francis Boyle, and he's breaking down, and I've also had other political scientists on who also went there, and at the higher level, they don't even mince words about this.
Well, it's really about understanding what makes people tick, and I guess like anything else, you can use it for good, you can use it for bad, but it seems like it's being used for bad. And you look at the recent Facebook scandal where university professors, people doing psychological research, were able to figure out that if they fed people that negative news, that they would become negative, that these emotions were contagious, figuring out how to manipulate people. And then, of course, what emerges is that...
Facebook's a lifetime study, just like Disney World admits, on how to control you.
That's right. So the very professor who was involved in that study, of course, as you know, was also involved with the Defense Department doing research on how to quell dissent, how to make sure that when governments do certain things that people don't rise up or become ruffled or upset. So the very same professor who's doing that research with the Defense Department is doing this research with Facebook. And then, right on the heels of that, we find out from Ed Snowden that the intelligence agencies of the U.S. and Great Britain have been manipulating public opinion. And the key thing, I think, to understand is that as individuals, we look to other people to know what to do. And probably the best example, if you and I were sitting in a theater and we smelled smoke, we might look around and say, is there a fire? I don't know. And if everybody else just kind of went, yeah, whatever, and kept eating their popcorn, we might do the same thing. But if we smelled smoke and looked around and everybody was running for the exits, we'd get up and run for the exits. And it's not because we're stupid. It's because we look to other people to figure out what to do. Now, your listeners, my listeners, are slightly different ilk.
They're programming herd mentality.
They're taking advantage of something that's already in us, which is that we look to other people to see if something is dangerous or not. That's how they get us eating all of this horrible food, because everybody else is eating it, so it can't be that bad. But that's also, I think, how they get us to embrace these things. The cell phone, well, everybody's got one. It can't be bad to be tracked 24/7. The GPS tracking, everybody's got it. The things on the side of your home that are using RFID to track your electricity usage, everybody else is doing it. So I think that's really where this is going, is figuring out how to make the internet look like nobody cares. Like NSA revelations. You do polls on this.
Well, it came out this week, what we already knew because we're under attack by it, exactly. They have all these fake bots to drive trends and make it look like freedom isn't popular.
To make it look like it's not popular, and it's just like the smelling smoke. People think, are we becoming less free, or is there tyranny afoot? Well, let's look around. Let me look on the internet. Oh, no, it looks like everything's fine, so I'll just go back to sleep.
Well, that's like Weird Al Yankovic came out and attacked us this week. And it's got millions of views, and just if he mixes in kooky stuff with real stuff that's going on, that if you believe the government's done anything wrong, you're a nut with a tinfoil hat. I mean, literally, a guy I never even disliked, guaranteed, got recruited to promote that and put that out for social control. And the documents keep coming out, but I can just look at it and tell how the script was written, because it's a standard deal, and it's so painful to see how they get so many people to join the takedown of our civilization. Because if you look at what the globalists are planning, that's what's so scary. They're not bringing in this total social grid to bring peace and tranquility. It is consciously to bring in a hellish world government that's anti-human.
Well, and I think the real goal is the people at the top, and I call them pond scum. They like to think they're the cream at the top of the milk, but they're really the scum that's risen to the top of the pond to choke out all the oxygen for the rest of us. And I live in New Hampshire, where we have to scrape that stuff off periodically to get some life back into the pond. And those people at the top, they want us around to clean the streets and take out the garbage, but they really don't want us making major change.
And now they've got the robots coming along, and on record they say, look, just go have fun and play and party. Humans won't work anymore. But when you read the more internal documents, they openly say, we just need to get rid of everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Alex Jones. Catherine Albrecht is our guest in studio. We'll be right back on the other side of this quick break, and your phone calls are coming up as well.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
How can you save a ton of money and prepare for emergencies? By having your own in-home freeze dryer from Harvest Right. Now you can cut down on wasted food by freeze drying your leftovers. That's right. Create your own long-term food storage by freeze drying your own fruits, meats, vegetables, even complete meals with a Harvest Right in-home freeze dryer. Imagine the savings and the peace of mind. See how the amazing Harvest Right freeze dryer works at harvestright.com.
By now, you may know that a Bitcoin is the first decentralized currency that's easily transferred from person to person over the internet. No bank needed. This means lower fees and accounts can never be frozen, limited, or closed. Plus, a large number of businesses and merchants already accept Bitcoins, and Bitcoins are easily exchanged for dollars, euros, and more. If you're interested in making money in the Bitcoin market right away, and by right away we mean start making money today, please visit us at cloudhashing.com. Cloudhashing.com is one of the fastest growing Bitcoin miners in the world, delivering the highest profits to people just like you. To get started, join us at cloudhashing.com and you will start mining Bitcoins right away and get paid daily. You heard correctly. You will receive payments every single day. And the best part, you do not need a computer or need any experience in mining Bitcoins. It's perfect for everyone. Learn more at cloudhashing.com. Just like it sounds, cloudhashing.com. Start making money today at cloudhashing.com.
It seems that everywhere you turn to these days, people are talking about the health benefits of silver. But don't be fooled into believing all silver is the same. Only one silver solution has been clinically shown to be hundreds of times stronger than colloidal or ionic silver. That's supernatural silver. It can be used internally as a powerful immune system enhancer to fight off bacteria and viruses. Supernatural silver can be used topically to treat any type of wound or skin issue. It's even gentle enough to be used on the ears, eyes, and sinuses. And unlike harsh drugs and antibiotics, supernatural silver has no side effects. Available as a liquid or a gel that you can use every day to stay healthy and well. To experience outstanding customer service and to place your order, visit supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code SILVER2014 for 20% off your entire order. Give yourself and your loved ones a fighting chance with Supernatural Silver. Only at supernaturalsilver.com. Supernaturalsilver.com.
Time and time again.
You need to come here and help us. We need assistance, please.
Those we should be able to depend on let us down.
Federal and state and local officials saying help is on the way. Well, the folks here in Belle Harbor say, show me.
Don't depend on the government to save you. Take action now so that you're prepared for the next disaster with MyPatriotSupply.com. Get the best prices on storable food, non-GMO seeds, water filtration devices, home canning equipment, survival and self-reliance books, and more at MyPatriotSupply.com. Call 866-229-0927.
We are hurting down here and we need help immediately.
Before it's time to survive, it's time to prepare. MyPatriotSupply.com. MyPatriotSupply.com.
I was a highwayman. Along the coach roads I did ride, with sword and pistol by my side.
The future has been charted by the technocrats. They've written books on it. It's not a very pretty place they're taking us. And they mean business. We have to decide that we can take control of our own destiny and promote individualism. People aren't going to want to join the New World Order, so they need to socially control us. But it's illegitimate for them to say that we basically have to do what they want. It's a fraud. It's called slavery. So how do we decide to build a future for humans that's better and more civilized and happier, rather than a future that doesn't have humans? As Bill Joy wrote, Why the Future Doesn't Need Us for Wired Magazine. now 15 years ago and said the elite have pretty much decided to kill everybody. And that's what you're getting at, is that the robots are here. It is the rise of the machines. Catherine, break that down.
Well, so it's funny, even as I'm getting on the airplane to come here, I'm flying United, and instead of the gate agent taking my ticket and putting it on the scanner, there's now a machine. And I'm thinking, well, why pay a human if you can put in a machine? I mean, that's going to be the attitude on everything they can automate, they will. We would see the same thing in all the cash registers if we hadn't said, what's the self-checkout garbage? I don't want that. So they really are moving towards replacing humans with machines. And I had an interesting experience recently in Waltham, Massachusetts. I was actually there for a big engineering conference, and one thing led to another. The guy who drove me to a television appearance, I asked him, who's the most famous person you've ever driven? And he says, well, the CEO of Google, Eric Schmidt. And I said, he was sitting right here where I'm sitting. He's like, yeah. And I said, what in the world was Eric Schmidt doing in Massachusetts? He said, well, he was going to see Boston Dynamics, where they make the robots. And I said, you're kidding me. He said, yeah, no, in fact, it's right next to your hotel, literally next door to my hotel. So I was sleeping in a hotel within a half a block of Big Dog and all of its companions. So I just cruised on over and introduced myself and walked in the door, and there, literally standing there, was a whole array in their reception area of the Big Dog robots. And what they envision, of course, this company has now been bought by Google, and you have to ask yourself, what in the world is Google buying military robots that were developed by the Defense Department? Why does a search engine need that kind of stuff? You know, these things can run through the woods, they can hunt people down. It's kind of crazy. So I think it's sort of a 1-2 punch. There's the military sort of robot control aspect on the one side, where they rule you through technological power and surveillance. But I think the other side people need to think a little bit more about is that they're getting us to voluntarily pay for the privilege of being tracked. So 20th century tyranny. It was Pol Pot killing 1/4 of Cambodia in 5 years. It was Mao Zedong killing 200 million Chinese. It was Joseph Stalin killing 60 million of his own citizens and ruling by terror. So everybody in those countries was afraid. But there's a little bit of a problem. When you have people afraid, they want to take you down. They want to depose you. They want to get rid of you. And so they've figured out a new way in the 21st century, which is to make us look to them for protection, look to them to save us, and then get us to voluntarily, instead of at a point of a gun say you have to carry a tracking device 24/7, they say, here, pay us $600, $700, $800 and we'll give you a tracking device that has music and games and all this addictive stuff on it.
It's total social programming, premeditated, on record. And again, it's not that we're having automation because it's good. It's being done to replace us so that humans aren't making decisions at the micro level. It's all centralized. That's the problem.
Right, and what's going to come next, see, because they're trying to figure out, how do we get into people's homes? How do we get, see, the invisible thing that they can't track and surveil is what you say to your spouse over breakfast.
Oh, that's what Gates said. It's right? Connect, that can look through your walls, listens to you, knows your face scan.
Right, so both Apple right now and Google are in an arms race to figure out which one is going to be the first to automate your home. And if you ever watch Star Trek, the original, you know, the computer's there, and they would say, hey, computer, plot a course for Orion 7. And the computer was always listening. And then the computer would say, you know, yes, Captain, blah, blah, blah. They want to do that in your home. And instead of making it seem that they're watching, tracking, surveilling, camera monitoring you, they instead want to make it seem like you're going to have all this new control over your home. But the reality, if you put cameras into your home, then they're going to use that the same way they've used everything else they've used to track us.
It's like your house being run off a smartphone. It's literally like making your house glass, and they're advertising it everywhere. Even for poor people, put your house on this. And if you go look at new houses in Austin, they've all got smart systems. And it's like, it's a $20,000 system, part of the price. Don't you want it?
Yeah, Austin is a test bed for this information. One of the reasons I came to Austin is because Austin is a test bed. Those remote controllable thermostats that were put in here, what, 5, 7 years ago? It's been a long time. That started right here in Austin. So this is really an epicenter, I think, of both sides.
That's the smart meter going from the outside of your house into your house now.
Well, they can even remotely turn off your air conditioning if you sign up for their system. And that's going to happen to everybody's home if we allow it to.
And then back when we would tell them before this went in 6, 7 years ago, they were doing it, people would say, Austin's not putting in thermostats that they control.
Yeah, well.
And then it's here. It's just this culture
and they boast about it. They get you to pay for it. It's a cool thing. Sign up.
But remember, just a few years ago, it didn't exist. Again, this is a Decepticon-type system.
We're on the march.
Stay with us.
The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.